files sorted. We have our photos selected. So now let's go over to Pixlemob. Pixlemob is a website that offers photography and editing. You can either select a human, a real editor to work on your photos, or you can select their AI services. So I have used both, and I use either one depending on the project. For a standard real estate photo shoot, I use the AI HDR option. There's 3 different options there, and I've tried all 3, and I have my favorite one, so I'll go over that. But I have also used actual people that to do the editing, and I've had really good experience with that as well. So it really depends on what the project is. If I'm working on a more architectural project that requires more attention to detail, more, I won't say more care, because each one requires a lot of care, and I approach all my photography with the same level of care, but I would approach editing an architectural photo different than a real estate photo that goes on the MLS. So in this case, we will be using the AI HDR service, and they offer 3 different options here. They have the Auto Enhance, which formerly known as Omni, Auto HDR, and Fotello. I use the Auto HDR. I find this to be the most consistent, and it gives me the cleanest look with straight lines and the least artifacts in the end. When the photos come back, they come back looking pretty good. I've tried Fotello a few times because Fotello has really good reviews, and I'm confused why, because my experience with Fotello has not been good. Every time I get photos back with the Fotello service, the colors are nowhere near what they were in the actual photo in the house, and it also ends up looking like a fisheye. It distorts my photo terribly. Instead of creating straight lines, it creates the fishbowl effect, and I have a really hard time fixing that in post-op. So I don't personally use Fotello. Maybe somebody has a better experience with it. Maybe I'm missing something there, but not for me. The Auto Enhance Omni, I've tried that one too. It was okay. I didn't like how washed out the photos came back, almost black and white. First time I did it, I was a little taken aback that it stripped a lot of the colors from my wall. So it was just too much. I've tried it a few times as well, and I keep defaulting to the Auto HDR. When the photos come back from Auto HDR, I don't use them as is. I like to take them back into Lightroom and pull back some of the shadows, add in a little bit more depth and a little bit of more warmth, because straight out of Auto HDR, they come out not washed out, but it favors the brightness and it favors flatness. So I like to add back in some dimension and a little bit of color. So the idea is when a person looks at the photo of the house, and then when they walk into the house, it feels like they've already seen the house. It feels connected from the photo to the house. You want people to feel like, hey, yes, this is what I saw in the photos. This is what I see in the house. So that's my goal with these photos. All right, so we'll upload my photos, and I'm gonna upload just the raw files, all 3 exposures for each image. So we'll go into the Pixlemob folder, enter, there we go. Okay, we're gonna give it a little bit of time to upload. Sometimes it takes a few minutes depending on how many photos we have. So we have 192 photos uploading. That's gonna give us, 64 final images, and that's gonna cost me just under $41. It's about half the price of what I pay a human editor when I use a human editor. I think the person I was using, I have 2 go-to people that I use, and they charge between 75 and 90 cents per final image. So this option is a little bit cheaper. So that's also something to consider. If you're working on a small project, you have to consider your profits as well. If you're charging $200 for a small project with a few photos and you're spending $100 on photo editing, you got to account for that in your profits and in your business costs. When you upload these photos, you want to make sure you're on a good connection because sometimes it will time out, especially if you're uploading the max, which is 250 files. All right, so just make sure everything uploaded here. Whee! Okay, so we got all our photos. There's a few options here. They can do sky replacement. I always keep it at original so I can manipulate the sky my end if I want to. If you select the sky replacement, it uses a generic blue sky, which is nice, but I find it to be a little too cookie cutter. So I like to work with the sky that was actually there and add to it or take from it as I see fit. So it looks a little more natural. You can have, they're adding in a service here to have a human review your photos. It's not available now. I haven't used it. I really haven't had a need to yet. So, but that is coming. Looks like it's coming soon. So I keep it at yes, I will manually review before getting my edits. And then you can automatically have him download, but I like to review him in case there's anything wrong with him or if I need any touch-ups or do-overs. I've had a situation where it merged the wrong photos together and it created a very interesting effect. So I always manually review the photos before getting my edits. All right, so once I have my photos uploaded, I'm gonna place my order. It's gonna ask me for the project name. It will not allow you to submit without a project name. So, all right, so it looks like I'm gonna need a little bit more balance. So we're gonna top off the balance here. Let's top off $100. If you top off under 50, it's gonna add a $1 processing fee. I'm gonna do 100. I use this service quite a bit, depending on how many houses I shoot per week. Okay, so we topped it off. We have the funds. I'm gonna submit the order. We're using the AI HDR and done. It says due in 12 hours. I literally get these back in 2-3 hours tops. So this is really nice also if you need photos back in a rush time frame. Otherwise, the human editors generally take between about 12-24 hours. You can request a rush order of 6 hours. So that's something to keep in mind too. The AutoHDR allows you to have your photos back much quicker. Okay, so our Pixlemob photos were delivered just a few moments ago. Refresh, about 6 minutes ago. So look, it literally took a half hour to process these. So again, if you're in a rush, if you're in a pinch and you need these done like that, this is a great option. All right, so let's take a look at what we have and how it did. It rearranges them in random order, just fine. There's the Pixlemob logo as you preview them, so you can just take screenshots or download them as is. But it's a great way to take a look if you're happy with the final results. And so far, so good. These colors look pretty natural to what it was. The house was done in a very muted tones, beiges and grays, which was very nice. It was very nicely done. So let's take a look. This is fine. A few things I'm gonna take out here in post-up. I'm gonna remove the cars from the driveway, or I may even just crop it a little bit. We're trying to show the extent of this yard. All right, that looks pretty good. A little bit of fishbowl effect going here. I can fix that in Lightroom, and I can also just crop it down a little bit because it looks like it's just on that edge. Oh, that's interesting. So normally it doesn't create this bent effect as much. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not too happy with that. But for the most part, a little bit of it I can fix and see, it made me a liar because I was just telling you that it has the best effect in the end, and it's creating this weird look. But for the most part, I can correct that in Lightroom. I just ultimately don't want to have to do that because that adds to my time as well. The colors look good. It feels pretty natural to what was there, these deep blues and the grays. That's how I remember the home. Yep. Yeah, that looks pretty accurate. So I'm happy with that. I'll probably add a little bit color into it. These apples should be a little more red than they are. but the window pulls look good. Let's see, it was quite a sunny day, so we're gonna have those shadows. Not much we can do about that. This is a little bit washed out, so I'm gonna bring back depth and a little bit of contrast to it. But the inside shots look very accurate. So far so good. Basement, dining room. This was a little bit too washed out as well, so I'm gonna bring back depth to that one. So I think when a room is already fairly light, it will favor making it even brighter. These look pretty good, except for the fishbowl effect. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It hasn't done that in the past. So maybe they're updating the algorithm and trying something new. If this continues to be the case, I may have to find a different way to process these, because again, I don't want to have to get photos back and have to correct them too much. And we're back in the beginning, I believe. It's the front, the back, yep. Okay. So it gives me an option to approve or reject files. I'm going to approve them only because I need to get them back to the realtor as soon as possible so that listing can go live. So I'm gonna fix the fishbowl effect in Lightroom and do a little bit of color correction. What options does it give me? So if I reject the files, it's not gonna let me download them, right? All right, for now, I'm gonna approve them, and at some point I may reach out to Pixlemob and ask what their process is for rejecting the photos. Once I reject a photo, can I have it corrected? Can I resubmit it at no extra charge, or I just can't download it? So in the past, when I've rejected a project, I wasn't able to basically to download them, and I had to start over. So that's the only thing I want to avoid right now. All right, so let's download these files. Okay, they're downloaded. I'm gonna put them in Pixlemob processed. I'll drop them in there. Okay, and go to downloads. My downloads folder is very random, quite disorganized. Don't pay attention to that. Okay, all right, so we got our folder, we got our files. So now let's move into Lightroom Classic.